So I just returned a zero turn. I showed you the last couple of videos. It was a John Deere zero turn. That zero turn, I had to weld some brackets onto the deck. That deck had been abused really bad. It was a nice running lawnmower. I mean, it ran really well. Only had 175 hours on it, and that's really low for a lawnmower. But the deck was just beat to death. So they called me to come fix the deck because, now remember, that was a zero turn. This is just a regular lawnmower. This bracket, I guess it was a bracket on the other side, but regardless, had fallen off. So got it to back here to the house, took the deck off and welded it on. And then I noticed the other bracket was also in bad shape. It hadn't fallen off yet, but it was going to fall off. So I went ahead and welded up the cracks on that one. Well, then you take a look at the blades, and the blades, one blade was broke. So the tip of the blade, probably 3 inches of the blade, had completely been ripped off. So that tells you how bad it was. So there was 3 inches of blade missing. And they were the wrong size. They were short. The reason they had to put short blades on it is because they ran it into something so hard that it bent the deck backwards. So I had to beat the deck out to get blades on it that would the proper blades on it. Got that all bent back out, got the blades on, put it back on, painted everything. I ran it with the deck running, and everything seemed fine. Took it over to the customer today, and the customer was very happy, paid me, was happy with the service. Well, I made it, what, let's see, 6 miles home. And they messaged me and said, the deck fell off. I'm like, what? Already? That weld broke? Well, what it was is the bar. She messaged again, and the bar on the front end had fallen off. I'm like, huh. Well, when she was saying it, this is the bar she was talking about right here. And I was just kind of thinking in my head that this pin had probably fallen out because they're cheap pins. So I figured, well, I'll just go back in there and see if we can't rig something up, because I didn't have any pins with me. But I turned around, went straight back, and I hadn't touched that bar. The only thing I did to the bar, see, that's an adjustment is what that is. So if you tighten that bar, see on the riding mower, there's a bolt up here at the front here. I think you can see me tapping that you can tighten, and when you tighten it, it lifts the front end of the deck up. So on the zero turn, that bolt was up here. It's hard to explain, but you just tightened it. Well, it was actually on top of the deck, but you just tighten it up and it draws the deck up. So I never touched the bar other than to disconnect the mower, put the mower back on, and then I tightened it up. That was it. Nothing to indicate that the bar would have fallen off, unless that, like I said, that R pin had fallen out. So I get over there, and it wasn't anything like I imagined. It had fallen off up here at the front, which is now, that is tucked up under the zero turn. So even though you can see it plainly here, on the zero turn, there was no way to see it other than crawl up underneath there and look. So I got up there and looked, and it was broke. Not only was it broke, there was wire hanging off the bar, like somebody had tried to wire it up, and there was a kind of like a washer that had fallen off. It was just in a big mess. And the thing that held the bar on had a split in it. It wasn't broke all the way, but it was broke some of the way. Well, when I got the message, she wasn't upset. She said, I'm not mad, things happen. But you could tell there was some aggravation, I guess, for lack of a better word. And, you know, you don't want to sit there and get all defensive on people. Oh, I didn't do anything to that. But once I you see on a zero turn, you can take where your feet sit, you can take that deck off. And so once I got that deck off, I think they were clear, at least he was, on what had happened, that there was no way this was my fault. So I guess they bought this thing used, or it was used, or I guess the story is that when they bought the house, the mower came with the house. So, but this thing had been absolutely abused. So, you know, you start to question yourself. Should I have caught that? And really, I mean, I suppose there will be a troll out there say you should do a thorough inspection of the entire lawnmower before you, and maybe that's true. But on the other hand, how much time are you being given to work on a lawnmower? You know, when it comes to a car, I suppose, you know, you do these yearly inspections for the car, and you have certain points that you have to look for on your annual inspection, or I think here it's in Missouri, it's a year. Well, you don't even have to do it until 10 years, but regardless, there's an inspection to get your car licensed. And so you pay for that inspection. And there's all these things you look at. And I'm sure they're pretty standard. And years of experiences went into all of these inspections. But the best I can do is test drive the lawnmower, I think. And, you know, how long are you going to test drive it? To me, a lawnmower should be just for cutting grass, not brush hogging. And I know he was brush hogging. You know, how long it takes you 6 minutes to drive 6 miles, 55 miles an hour. So he broke it in 6 minutes. Now I drove it for at least 20 minutes yesterday and nothing happened. But he broke it in 6 minutes. So when I got over there, the deck is already covered in grass. You remember, I completely pressure washed the whole thing. So the deck's completely covered in grass. So he was roughhousing it, probably going over tough bumps and everything. But the bigger thing is it was already broke. Now, I don't know if he knew it was broke or the previous owner knew it was broke. See, that's the thing. Is in the past, somebody knew it was broke. Somebody did, because they wired it up. Now, to me, if something breaks, you should take it, if you're not going to fix it yourself correctly, you should take it to a mechanic and have them fix it correctly. And that way, you know, everything's being taken care of all at one time. But since everything was broke on it, I don't think there's any way to have an expectation to fix it. On a car, let's look at a car. If a mechanic saw a car in that bad a shape, where everything is broke, and everything's going to be welded, the frame, you know, the mounts, the front end is smashed in, then maybe. But on a lawnmower, you know, you do what you can. So I think, although I don't think it gave me a bad reputation, I think that the customer has expectations that you're supposed to do a visual inspection or inspect the whole thing or go through the whole thing, take it all apart, put it back together. I don't know. But there's just no way to be able to find every little breaking point on a lawnmower when you've bashed in the front end so bad that everything needs to be replaced. And it's not like you can just replace these things. All those brackets have to be re-welded. You know, as a mechanic, you kind of identify what parts are broken, you replace the parts. What parts are not working, you replace the parts. But as a technician, not a technician, how do you put it? Well, even a body mechanic. My first father-in-law, he was a body shop, repaired wrecks all the time. And he didn't own a welder. Believe it or not, he did not own a welder. He didn't weld. I mean, he could weld, but he didn't weld. And he owned a shop. You remove a part, you fix it. That's just how he did things. So, you know, to have to weld everything in order for it to work, I'm not sure I'm making any sense, but I wonder if missing things, you know, you fix the whole entire deck, this was not the deck that was broke. This was on the frame of the lawnmower. So, you know, all these things I fixed, and there was one thing that I guess I just missed. The thing is it's busted so bad, I will have to add parts to it. I know exactly how to fix it. What I did was I took a hammer and I tapped it, and that should hold it in place. I really think it's going to hold it in place. But if it doesn't, I've already figured out what I'm going to do to fix them. I have to add a piece so that bar can't slide out. Well, first of all, I think it was a bad design. All I had to do to prevent this in the design was drill a hole in the bar, put an R pin in there, you know, washer and R pin. The whole thing would have been solved. I might even do that. I might just drill a hole and put a washer in there. I mean, nothing is going to be hard to fix. It was just, I really felt like they thought that I should have figured this out on the first go around. And, you know, I don't think it was my fault. They told me what was broke. I found more stuff that was broke. So I don't see how this is my fault. You know, they wanted specific things fixed. I fixed them plus some. So I don't know. You know, running a business is hard. I don't mind doing the work. I really enjoy doing the work. It's dealing with the customers that I struggle with. You know, she texted me, and you know, we're out here in the boonies, so it's, you don't always get text messages when you're driving around. So when I got the text message, it said, "Can you come back?" Or can you, the bar fell off, that's what it said. And I said, "I'm on my way back." Well, later, after we got home, after I already worked on it, I got 2 more text messages, apparently sent right after, you know, all 3 of them were sent at the same time, basically. It said, "Don't come today." Well, I didn't get that message, so I came right back. So that might have been part of their aggravation too, was I came back even though they told me not to come back today. But I didn't know. But as soon as I got the message, I replied to her. I said, "Hey, you know, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to come back. I just now got the other 2 messages." So she said, "No worries." I tell you, dealing with the customer service is just really hard for me. I mean, beyond hard. It's just unreal. I guess I don't understand people. You know, I told you about mechanics on the Facebook group. Got another one. He was didn't know how to fix the chainsaw and want everybody to tell him, you know, "I got a customer brought me this chainsaw. I don't know how to fix it. What should I do?" And I gave him the instructions on how to fix it, and then I said, "But before I take a piece of equipment, I make sure I know how to fix it." And that way I don't get on Facebook and tell the world I don't know how to fix something. So somebody came back and said, "You're a rude person. You're just very rude." And I didn't understand that. How am I rude? Isn't the mechanic who lied to the customer and said, "Yeah, I can fix it," rude? I mean, isn't he the rude one? He lied to the customer. I was being honest. Don't take a job unless you know how to fix it. That's honest. That's honest. That's not rude. That's honest. But saying I know how to fix something that you don't know how to fix, that's rude. So how am I the rude one? Because I pointed out that he was rude? You're rude because you pointed out he's rude, even though... And then when they come back, when you explain to them why you did it, I said, "I'm not the rude one. He is. He lied." Well, whatever makes you feel better at night. Nothing makes me feel better. The thing that would make me feel better is if mechanics stopped telling people they knew how to fix things they didn't know how to fix. So I just don't understand. We're going to defend incompetence and criticize honesty. We're in a really weird society right now. I mean, evil has completely taken over our society. It's not rude to lie. It's rude to be honest. I have a hard time with that. I just have a hard time with people. I don't understand them. I don't understand if these people are upset with me because that bar fell off, even though the fact that the bar had been manipulated by somebody else, they saw it, they knew that somebody wired that up. Wasn't me. They knew I didn't touch it. I was working on I showed them everything I worked on. So it was obvious I didn't work on that. So I don't know, I just struggle with people. I guess that's why I live here, away from people. So if you click this up next box, take the video on my other channel. Really appreciate it. Go check it out. So if I can inspire you to deal with your problems when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.